Some NBA careers shine so bright, they feel unstoppable. Until one moment changes everything. Today, we're breaking down the legends whose dreams were destroyed by injuries. Careers that should have been Hall of Fame stories, but instead became heartbreaking what-ifs. Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP in NBA history, a superstar built to dominate, until one injury changed everything. Derrick Rose exploded into the league in 2008 as the Chicago Bulls' #1 pick, instantly becoming one of the most electrifying point guards the NBA had ever seen. His blend of speed, strength, and body control made him nearly impossible to guard. In just his third season, Rose won the 2011 MVP award at only 22 years old, the youngest in history. Fans believed they were witnessing the birth of the next Jordan-like icon in Chicago. But in 2012, disaster struck. In the opening game of the playoffs, Rose tore his ACL, a devastating injury that derailed not only his postseason but the trajectory of his career. After multiple surgeries and years of grueling rehab, Rose struggled to regain his MVP-level explosiveness. While he had flashes of brilliance, like his 50-point game with Minnesota in 2018, he was never the same unstoppable force. Derrick Rose's story is both inspiring and heartbreaking. A player who touched greatness but was robbed of his prime by injury. To this day, fans can't help but wonder what he could have achieved if his knees had held up. Grant Hill, the man once called the next Michael Jordan, a superstar who had it all until his body betrayed him. When Grant Hill entered the NBA in 1994 with the Detroit Pistons, he was an instant sensation. Smooth, athletic, versatile. Hill could score, rebound, defend, and pass like a point guard in a forward's body. By his second season, he was an all-star starter, and by the late 90s, he was averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. He wasn't just great, he was the future of the league. But then came the injuries. In 2000, Hill signed with the Orlando Magic to team up with Tracy McGrady and form a potential dynasty. Instead, chronic ankle injuries destroyed his prime. Multiple surgeries, endless rehabs, and even life-threatening complications kept him sidelined for years. The superstar who once looked unstoppable was reduced to fighting just to stay on the court. Hill eventually reinvented himself with the Phoenix Suns as a reliable veteran, proving his love for the game never died. But his prime years, those MVP-caliber seasons, were taken away. Grant Hill's story is a painful reminder of how injuries can rob even the most gifted players of their destiny. Brandon Roy, the superstar who was supposed to save Portland but whose knees gave out before his legend could be written. When the Portland Trail Blazers drafted Brandon Roy in 2006, they found gold. Roy wasn't just good, he was different. Smooth scorer, clutch shooter, elite playmaker. He quickly became the face of the franchise. By his second season, he was already an all-star, averaging 19 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds with the calm leadership of a 10-year veteran. By 2009-10, Roy had reached true superstardom, averaging 21.5 points per game and leading Portland back into the playoff spotlight. His game-winning shots, fearless drives, and ability to take over in crunch time had fans believing he was the guard who would bring the Blazers back to glory. But then came the knees. Degenerative knee issues, stemming from a lack of cartilage, robbed Roy of his explosiveness. Despite trying multiple surgeries and heroic comebacks, including one unforgettable playoff performance in 2011 against the Mavericks, his body simply wouldn't cooperate. At just 28, Brandon Roy was forced to retire, leaving fans haunted by the thought. If his knees had held up, could he have been one of the greatest shooting guards ever? Penny Hardaway, once called the next Magic Johnson, a superstar built for greatness, until injuries cut his prime to pieces. In the mid-1990s, Anthony Penny Hardaway was the future of the NBA. Drafted in 1993, Penny had everything: size, handles, vision, and charisma. At 6 feet 7 inches with a silky smooth game, he could run the point like Magic Johnson, score like a shooting guard, and defend multiple positions. Pairing with Shaquille O'Neal in Orlando, Penny quickly became the centerpiece of a young Magic team that reached the 1995 NBA Finals. By 1996, Penny was a household name, earning 4 straight All-Star appearances and 2 All-NBA first-team selections. His mix of flash and fundamentals had kids everywhere rocking his iconic Lil Penny commercials. He was supposed to be the guy who carried Orlando into the post-Michael Jordan era, but knee injuries struck early and often. After Shaq's departure in '96, Penny shouldered the load, only for surgeries and chronic pain to strip away his explosiveness. Though he battled back for stints in Phoenix, New York, and Miami, he was never the same. Penny's career is remembered not just for what he did, but for what he could have been. A Hall of Fame legend cut short by broken knees. Bill Walton, an unstoppable force on the court, until injuries turned brilliance into heartbreak. Bill Walton entered the NBA with sky-high expectations after dominating at UCLA, winning 2 national championships and 3 National Player of the Year awards. Drafted first overall by the Portland Trail Blazers in 1974, Walton immediately showcased his unique combination of size, skill, and basketball IQ. He could pass, block shots, and score inside, making him the perfect centerpiece for a championship team. In Portland, Walton delivered, leading the Blazers to the 1977 NBA title and earning Finals MVP honors. His versatility and court vision made him arguably the most dynamic big man of his era. But injuries began their relentless assault. Chronic foot problems, knee issues, and repeated surgeries kept Walton off the floor for large stretches, limiting his prime. Despite short stints of dominance with Boston later in his career, injuries prevented Walton from fully realizing his Hall of Fame caliber potential. His career is a reminder that talent alone isn't enough. The human body can define or destroy a legend. Bill Walton's story is one of genius, perseverance, and a glimpse at what could have been if health had matched his skill. Yao Ming, the unstoppable giant whose towering talent was constantly shadowed by injuries. Yao Ming entered the NBA as the first overall pick in 2002, drafted by the Houston Rockets, instantly bringing global attention to the league. At 7 feet 6 inches, Yao combined size, skill, and agility rarely seen in a center. He could score in the post, shoot mid-range jumpers, and protect the rim, making him an all-around superstar and a cultural icon bridging the NBA and China. Despite individual brilliance, injuries relentlessly derailed his career. Foot and ankle problems became chronic, forcing Yao to miss multiple games every season. His prime was fragmented, and he was never able to consistently play full seasons, limiting playoff success and altering the trajectory of the Rockets during his tenure. Yao's impact, however, extended beyond statistics. He became an ambassador for basketball worldwide, influencing an entire generation in China and inspiring global growth for the NBA. His story is bittersweet, a transcendent talent trapped by the fragility of the body. Yao Ming's career teaches that even when greatness is visible to all, health can be the ultimate limiting factor in defining legacy. Tracy McGrady, the scorer, the highlight reel, yet always shadowed by what could have been. Tracy McGrady entered the NBA as the 9th overall pick in 1997, joining the Toronto Raptors, instantly showcasing his elite scoring, ball handling, and athleticism. Known for his smooth jumper, explosive drives, and ability to take over games single-handedly, T-Mac became one of the league's most feared offensive threats. Despite staggering individual performances, including multiple 50-point games and scoring titles, McGrady's career was riddled with injuries that prevented him from sustaining dominance. Hamstring strains, back problems, and knee issues repeatedly sidelined him, often during pivotal playoff runs. His prime coincided with frustrating team contexts, leaving McGrady's talent underutilized in critical postseason moments. Even so, McGrady's legacy shines in flashes of brilliance. The 13-second 13-point comeback against the Spurs, his smooth scoring arsenal, and clutch performances that still make fans replay highlights. His story is a testament to genius curtailed by misfortune. His stats tell only part of the story, while his highlights and potential speak to the greatness the world almost fully witnessed. Tracy McGrady proves that in the NBA, brilliance alone isn't always enough. Durability shapes destiny. Greg Oden, the towering center with the talent to dominate the league, yet haunted by relentless misfortune. Greg Oden entered the NBA as the first overall pick in 2007, joining the Portland Trail Blazers with expectations as a franchise-altering center. Standing 7 feet tall with remarkable agility, shot-blocking instincts, and a soft touch around the rim, Oden had all the tools to reshape Portland's future. From the start, injuries shadowed his career. Microfracture surgery, recurring knee issues, and endless rehab stints limited him to just 105 games over multiple seasons. Every time Oden seemed ready to showcase his dominant presence on both ends of the court, another setback struck, frustrating fans and management alike. The promise of a defensive anchor paired with elite scoring in the post remained largely unfulfilled. Despite fleeting glimpses of brilliance, such as his shot-blocking runs and high-percentage finishes, Oden's career became a cautionary tale. Talent alone couldn't overcome the persistent physical toll. His story underscores the harsh reality of the NBA. Potential and skill can be derailed by the body itself. Greg Oden remains a what-could-have-been legend, a towering talent whose prime was stolen before it truly began. Chris Webber, the skilled forward with unmatched versatility, yet his career was a roller coaster of brilliance and controversy. Chris Webber entered the NBA as the first overall pick in 1993, joining the Orlando Magic before being traded to the Golden State Warriors. A 6'10" forward with a unique combination of passing, scoring, and rebounding, Webber redefined the power forward role. He could handle the ball like a guard, create plays from the post, and run the floor with surprising agility. Despite undeniable talent, Webber's career faced hurdles. Injuries, including recurring knee problems, interrupted his momentum and limited his prime years. On top of that, team dynamics often clashed with his style, most notably during his college Fab Five days at Michigan, where controversies and NCAA sanctions cast shadows over his early legacy. Even with these challenges, Webber's highlights were spectacular. Multiple All-Star selections, All-NBA team nods, and game-changing performances made him one of the most exciting players of his era. Yet many fans still ask, what could have been if health and circumstances aligned perfectly? Chris Webber's story is a mix of genius, frustration, and unfulfilled potential, a reminder that talent sometimes isn't enough to escape life's unpredictability. DeMarcus Cousins, an absolute powerhouse in the paint, yet his peak was constantly derailed by injuries and drama. DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie, entered the NBA in 2010 as the 5th overall pick by the Sacramento Kings. Standing 6 feet 10 inches and built like a tank, he was a scoring machine in the post, a dominant rebounder, and could stretch the floor with his surprisingly soft touch from mid-range. Cousins had rare versatility for a big man, capable of creating plays, passing, and taking over games single-handedly. But Boogie's career was riddled with setbacks. Multiple ACL and Achilles injuries repeatedly forced him off the court, interrupting what could have been a dominant prime. Beyond injuries, team instability and off-court drama often overshadowed his brilliance, from trade rumors to locker room tensions. Despite these challenges, Cousins' peak performances were jaw-dropping. He recorded 40-point games, 20 rebound nights, and all-star selections that showcased his immense talent. Yet fans can't help but wonder how different his legacy might have been in a healthier, more stable environment. DeMarcus Cousins' story is a cautionary tale. Even elite talent can be sidelined by circumstances, proving that dominance in the NBA requires more than just skill. It demands health, consistency, and a touch of luck. Danny Granger, a smooth scorer, a silent superstar, whose prime was stolen by relentless injuries.
Danny Granger, drafted 17th overall by the Indiana Pacers in 2005, quietly evolved into one of the Eastern Conference's most lethal scorers. Standing 6'9", Granger could shoot from deep, drive with power, and create his own shot with a fluid, effortless style. By the 2009-10 season, he became an all-star and even finished third in MVP voting, leading the Pacers with 24.1 points per game. But as Granger reached his peak, injuries began to chip away at his momentum. Knee and hamstring issues repeatedly sidelined him, limiting his minutes and reducing his explosiveness. As the Pacers rebuilt around a young core, Granger's role shrank, and his ability to maintain elite production declined. Despite these setbacks, Granger's professionalism and offensive skill left a lasting impression. He was the kind of player who could quietly carry a team without flashy headlines. Fans often forget just how dominant he was when healthy, a scorer who could have been an MVP-caliber star for several seasons if not for injuries. Danny Granger's career reminds us that timing and durability are as critical as talent in defining NBA greatness.
Blake Griffin, a high-flying dunker, explosive athlete whose highlight reels couldn't escape relentless injuries.
Blake Griffin entered the NBA in 2009 as the first overall pick by the Los Angeles Clippers, immediately earning Rookie of the Year honors. Known for his jaw-dropping athleticism, rim-rattling dunks, and highlight reel finishes, Griffin became the face of a struggling Clippers franchise, transforming them into a playoff contender. His combination of strength, speed, and agility made him nearly unstoppable in the paint. However, injuries quickly became a recurring theme in Griffin's career. Knee issues, ankle sprains, and a torn meniscus forced him to miss key games, disrupting his rhythm and limiting his ability to dominate consistently. As Griffin aged, these injuries gradually reduced his explosiveness, forcing him to adapt into a more perimeter-oriented scorer. Despite setbacks, Griffin's resilience and basketball IQ allowed him to remain productive, earning multiple All-Star selections and memorable playoff moments. He never quite reached the championship glory expected of a #1 pick, but Blake Griffin's career is a story of raw talent, determination, and adapting to physical adversity. Even with injuries defining parts of his journey, he left an indelible mark on the modern NBA, remembered for both his dunks and his perseverance.
Markelle Fultz, a #1 overall pick, gifted scorer, whose career promise collided with relentless misfortune.
Markelle Fultz entered the NBA in 2017 as the first overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers, heralded as a generational talent with elite athleticism and a smooth scoring touch. Fultz's ability to attack the rim, create shots off the dribble, and finish through contact made him one of the league's most promising young guards. Expectations were sky-high, with fans envisioning a future superstar leading Philadelphia to contention. But his career quickly hit turbulence. Fultz suffered a mysterious shoulder injury that disrupted his shooting mechanics, sidelining him for extended periods. The shooting yips became a public spectacle, with his once fluid jumper unrecognizable and confidence shaken. Multiple rehab attempts, mechanical adjustments, and team changes followed, including a trade to the Orlando Magic, but the shadow of injuries and inconsistency lingered. Despite these struggles, Fultz showcased flashes of brilliance, explosive drives, defensive potential, and playmaking vision. But the promise of a franchise-altering star remained largely unfulfilled. His story is a cautionary tale of talent meeting physical limitations, mental pressure, and the brutal unpredictability of professional basketball. Markelle Fultz reminds fans how even elite skills can be sidelined by forces beyond sheer will.
Anthony Bennett, the first overall pick with sky-high expectations, whose NBA journey spiraled into struggle and disappointment. Anthony Bennett entered the NBA in 2013 as the first overall pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers, carrying enormous hype after an explosive college career at UNLV. At 6'8", with a versatile skill set, Bennett was expected to dominate both ends of the floor, stretch the floor with shooting, crash the boards, and defend multiple positions. The basketball world envisioned him as a cornerstone for Cleveland's future. But reality hit hard. Bennett struggled with conditioning, injuries, and confidence, leading to a disastrous rookie season where his numbers barely reflected his talent. He battled a chronic shoulder injury and weight issues, limiting mobility and explosiveness. Coaches rotated him in and out of the lineup, and his role fluctuated between bench stints and D-League assignments. Multiple trades followed, including stops in Toronto, Minnesota, Brooklyn, and more, but he never found stability or consistency. Despite the setbacks, Bennett's story is one of perseverance. He continues to chase opportunities overseas and in the G League, trying to recapture glimpses of the potential that made him a #1 pick. Anthony Bennett's NBA career serves as a stark reminder that even top talent can falter when health, timing, and mental pressure collide.
Derrick Coleman, a dominant force with all-star talent whose career was constantly derailed by injuries and inconsistency.
Derrick Coleman entered the NBA in 1990 as the first overall pick by the New Jersey Nets, bringing a rare combination of size, skill, and versatility. At 6'10", he could score inside and out, handle the ball like a guard, and rebound with elite instincts. Early on, Coleman looked like a franchise-altering talent, earning the NBA Rookie of the Year award and quickly becoming the centerpiece of the Nets' offense. But injuries and off-court issues plagued his career. Chronic knee and back problems limited his mobility, forcing him to miss games and never fully reach his potential. Despite flashes of brilliance, including multiple All-Star appearances and dominant playoff performances, Coleman's career was marred by inconsistency and frustration. Teams relied on his talent, but durability held him back from becoming a true superstar. Coleman later played for the 76ers, Pistons, and Hornets, but the pattern persisted. His story highlights the brutal reality of the NBA. Skill alone isn't enough. Health, discipline, and circumstance play massive roles. Derrick Coleman's legacy remains a cautionary tale, a player with elite talent whose career never fully matched the promise of his physical gifts.
Michael Porter Jr., a scoring phenom whose career has been a roller coaster of potential and injury.
Michael Porter Jr. entered the NBA in 2018 as the 14th overall pick by the Denver Nuggets, instantly recognized for his rare scoring ability and fluid shooting touch. At 6'10", he could stretch the floor, knock down threes effortlessly, and create mismatches with his agility and skill. Scouts saw superstar potential, and fans dreamed of a franchise cornerstone. But right from the start, injuries shadowed Porter Jr.'s career. A back injury limited him to just 3 games in his rookie season, raising questions about durability and long-term health. Each comeback seemed promising, with flashes of brilliance showcasing his offensive arsenal. He could score from anywhere on the court, finish through contact, and hit clutch shots with ease. Yet, intermittent injuries and cautious management kept him from consistent minutes and rhythm. Despite setbacks, Porter Jr. remains a key piece for Denver, helping lead the Nuggets deep into the playoffs with his scoring bursts and high basketball IQ. His story is one of perseverance, patience, and unfulfilled potential. A reminder that in the NBA, even elite talent can be sidelined by the cruel hand of injury.
Larry Johnson, a powerhouse forward whose career burned bright but was cut short by injuries. Larry Johnson burst onto the NBA scene in 1991 as the first overall pick by the Charlotte Hornets, immediately establishing himself as a dynamic forward with an explosive first step and powerful inside game. Johnson could finish in traffic, hit mid-range jumpers, and bring a physicality that made defenders think twice. Fans loved the grandmama persona, his energy and charisma making him a marketing sensation as well as an on-court force. Yet injuries began to shadow his career early. Persistent back problems and knee issues limited his mobility, reduced his explosiveness, and disrupted his consistency. What could have been a decade of dominance became a series of ups and downs, with moments of brilliance overshadowed by physical setbacks. Johnson's scoring and rebounding numbers were impressive, but playoff success remained elusive, and he never reached the championship heights his talent suggested. Despite these challenges, Johnson's impact on the court and culture of the game was undeniable. His career reminds us that even elite athletes, no matter how powerful or talented, are vulnerable to the unpredictability of injuries, and greatness can sometimes be defined by resilience as much as by trophies.
Amar'e Stoudemire, a high-flying phenom whose body couldn't always keep up with his game.
Amar'e Stoudemire entered the NBA in 2002 as the 9th overall pick by the Phoenix Suns, immediately turning heads with his athleticism, rim-rattling dunks, and shot-blocking ability. Stoudemire's explosive first step, leaping power, and ability to finish in traffic made him a nightmare matchup for defenders and a cornerstone for the Suns' fast-paced offense under Mike D'Antoni. However, his career was plagued by chronic knee injuries. Stoudemire's relentless drive and aggressive style put immense strain on his joints, forcing multiple microfracture surgeries and recurring setbacks that limited his mobility and longevity. Even at his peak, he had to carefully manage minutes and intensity to stay on the floor. Despite the setbacks, Stoudemire achieved 6 All-Star selections, Rookie of the Year honors, and memorable playoff runs, showing flashes of dominance few could match. Yet, fans and analysts often wonder how much higher he could have soared if his body held up. His story is a stark reminder that in the NBA, raw talent and athleticism can only take you so far without durability, and even the most electrifying players can be limited by the fragility of their own bodies.
Shaun Livingston, a silky point guard whose career almost ended before it truly began.
Shaun Livingston entered the NBA in 2004 as the 4th overall pick by the Los Angeles Clippers, touted for his size, vision, and smooth ball handling. Early in his career, Livingston showcased the potential to be a franchise point guard, blending court awareness with a polished mid-range game and the ability to push the pace. But in 2007, a catastrophic knee injury nearly ended everything. Livingston suffered a dislocated kneecap, torn ligaments, and cartilage damage, an injury so severe that many doubted he'd ever walk normally, let alone play professional basketball. Months of grueling rehab, surgeries, and mental toughness followed, turning Livingston's career into a testament to resilience. He reinvented himself with the Golden State Warriors, transitioning from high-flying prospect to a dependable, versatile bench player. Livingston became a key component of 3 championship teams, known for his steady mid-range shooting, defense, and clutch composure. Though he never dominated the league the way scouts initially envisioned, Shaun Livingston's story proves that determination and adaptability can salvage a career, turning near tragedy into lasting success and showing fans that greatness can come in unexpected, unflashy forms.
Pau Gasol, a skilled big man whose brilliance often got overshadowed by timing and circumstance.
Pau Gasol entered the NBA in 2001 as the 3rd overall pick by the Atlanta Hawks, but was quickly traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. Standing 7 feet tall with a soft shooting touch and exceptional passing skills, Gasol was an advanced big man in an era dominated by bruisers. He could score inside and out, make plays for teammates, and defend multiple positions, instantly becoming the cornerstone of Memphis's rise. Despite individual success, playoff glory eluded him until he joined the Los Angeles Lakers in 2008. Gasol's skill, basketball IQ, and versatility complemented Kobe Bryant perfectly, helping the Lakers secure back-to-back championships in 2009 and 2010. Yet even during those prime years, Pau's contributions were often overshadowed by Kobe's spotlight and media narratives. Later stints with Chicago, San Antonio, and Milwaukee showed flashes of brilliance, but never the sustained dominance many predicted. Pau Gasol's career reminds fans that talent alone doesn't guarantee recognition. Context, timing, and narrative play huge roles. He left the league as one of the most fundamentally sound big men of his generation, a true professional whose impact went far beyond stats.
Jermaine O'Neal, an all-star center whose dominance was constantly derailed by injury and misfortune.
Jermaine O'Neal was drafted 17th overall by the Portland Trail Blazers in 1996, but he didn't immediately make an impact. His breakout came after moving to the Indiana Pacers in 2000, where O'Neal transformed into one of the league's premier big men. Standing 6'11" with agility, shot-blocking ability, and scoring versatility, he could dominate in the paint, stretch defenses, and lead a team offensively and defensively. O'Neal earned 6 All-Star selections, won the Most Improved Player award in 2002, and led the Pacers deep into the playoffs. Yet injuries constantly chipped away at his potential. Knee and wrist issues forced him to miss crucial games during Indiana's title runs, and recurring setbacks slowed his athleticism and consistency. Later stints with Toronto, Miami, and Portland showed glimpses of his former greatness, but O'Neal could never fully recapture his prime. Jermaine O'Neal's story is one of elite talent interrupted by bad luck. His career serves as a reminder that even extraordinary skill can be undermined by injury, and that dominance in the NBA is as much about health and timing as it is about raw ability.
Ralph Sampson, a towering force at 7'4", destined for greatness, yet history had other plans. Ralph Sampson entered the NBA as the first overall pick in 1983, joining the Houston Rockets with sky-high expectations. At 7'4" with guard-like agility, Sampson could shoot from outside, block shots, and handle the ball with unmatched skill for a center. He quickly became a sensation, winning Rookie of the Year and earning All-Star honors in his first 3 seasons. Sampson's career, however, was plagued by chronic knee injuries. Despite forming the Twin Towers duo with Hakeem Olajuwon, which brought Houston close to an NBA Finals appearance in 1986, Sampson never fully realized his potential. Surgeries and recurring setbacks limited his mobility and playing time, eventually forcing him into early retirement.